There is a moment in Parashat Toldot when Esav comes in from the field utterly exhausted, reaching for the quickest comfort he can find. He sees Jacob cooking lentils and he blurts out, "Hey, give me some of that red stuff, now!" Jacob responds with a condition. "Sell me your birthright." Esav answers, "I am at the point of death. What use is this birthright to me?" And then the Torah concludes with an almost sad voice. Vaivez Esav et habechorah. Esav despised the birthright. The rabbis teach us that Esav was rejecting what the birthright actually meant: responsibility, holiness, sacred service, being the heir of a spiritual legacy, being the carrier of a covenant that began with Abraham and Sarah and with his parents Isaac and Rebekah. Esav saw the spiritual mission and said, "Lama zeli? Why do I need this?" He chose the stew. He chose immediate satisfaction, the temporary over the eternal. When I read this story today, I hear a critique not only of a flawed biblical character, but of 21st century Judaism and perhaps of all of us. We too are in a way trading our birthright for a bowl of stew. We live in a culture of the immediate. Our devices are built to give us what we want in seconds. The whole world in the palm of your hand. Our society teaches us to avoid discomfort. Everything is about now. But Judaism is not a now tradition. It is a 3,500-year birthright asking us to think in decades, in generations, and even in centuries. It thinks in covenantal time. And like Esav, we sometimes look at the birthright and say, "Lama zeli? Why do I need this? Why do I need Shabbat? Why do I need prayer? Why do I need to go to synagogue? Why do I need to do Jewish learning or Jewish community or Jewish peoplehood?" Apathy and even a creeping ennui, that sense of dissatisfaction that comes from having too many comforts and too little purpose, are part of contemporary culture. The modern world whispers that we no longer truly need one another, at least not up close or in person. Why leave the house when every convenience arrives at our doorsteps? Why sit with community in real time when we can stay at home and binge watch thousands of shows? Why invest in relationships that demand patience, empathy, and presence when everything and everyone can be filtered through a screen? It's a problem-free philosophy. But I don't think we are wicked. Perhaps we are simply tired like Esav, returning from the field like a kind of spiritual fatigue. And when we are that tired, we will trade almost anything for the illusion of comfort. But the Torah warns us, when we live on impulse, we lose something far greater than we realize. The rabbis say that before the Levites, the firstborn were meant to serve God. The Bechorah, the birthright, meant showing up spiritually, morally, and communally. Esav doesn't lose the birthright because Jacob tricks him. He loses it because he doesn't value the responsibility that comes with it. So, what is our birthright today? And do we value it? Our birthright is the wisdom of tradition, the obligation to care for others, the memory of generations who lived so we could live. The covenant of tzedek, justice, chesed, loving kindness, and kedusha, holiness. It is living with the language of prayer in our lips, the rhythm of sacred time in our walking, and with the constant repetition of the story of a people who refuses to disappear. Judaism is not something that we have. It is something we carry with us. And as they say, if you don't use it, you lose it. We lose it not because someone stole it, but because we set it down for something easier. There is another moment in the Parashah that always resonates in my heart. Jacob stands before his father, clothed in Esau's garments, his arms covered in goat skins. Isaac touches him and says, the voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau. The Midrash says that Esau's hands were hands of bloodshed, hands of the hunt, and yet Jacob is wearing them as a costume, as a disguise. I believe it is a haunting description of our Jewish world today. For too long, parts of our society and our people have spoken with the voice of Jacob but acted with the hands of Esau, hands of violence, of polarization, of fear, hands that strike before they listen, hands that do not match the sacred voice inside us. So many feel pressured to wear the garments of Esau, to speak louder, to harden ourselves, to live in constant outrage, and fight in bloody wars, whether they're cultural or the very real ones too. Perhaps we have worn the costume for so long that we are forgetting who we are underneath. But Isaac hears something deeper. He hears that the true identity, the soul, the conscious, the sacred mission is still the voice of Jacob, the voice of Israel. In every generation, and especially now, our task is to peel back the costume, to strip away the goat skin disguises, and let the voice of Jacob, the voice of Torah, of compassion, and of justice, the voice of humanity, be heard clearly again. We cannot afford to remain silent. Many Jewish communities today are wrestling with an Esau-style exhaustion, declining engagement, especially from younger people, in parts also shrinking attention spans and apathy. Rabbis and community leaders are pressured to make Judaism entertaining, bite-sized, instantly gratifying, with the assumption that tradition must justify itself to us, rather than asking what we owe to tradition. Or, to paraphrase President JFK, ask not what Judaism can do for you, ask what you can do for Judaism. A Judaism built only on preference will not survive. But a Judaism built on responsibility and commitment will certainly do. Jacob may not be perfect, far from it, but he hungers for something more than lentil stew, more than instant gratification of the senses. He hungers for meaning, for covenant, for a place in the sacred story. And we, the children of Israel, the descendants of Jacob, in every generation, survive only through the hunger for something sacred. We can choose ease, comfort, instant gratification, or we can choose the long work of learning, showing up, building community, wrestling with God, repairing the world, and speaking with the true voice of Israel, even when the hands of Esau surround us. May we be able to peel away the disguises that hide our truest self. May our hands be the hands of compassion and our voice the voice of Torah. And may we have the courage to say, in a culture of now, I choose responsibility. I choose holiness. I choose my birthright.